Okay, today we're going to take a look at the Detroit Lions from a fantasy perspective, 2013. Lions kind of a disappointing season last year. They were expected to be a much better team after finally making the playoffs in the 2011 season. 2012, lots of different problems, many of whom are gone, namely Titus Young. They still have a lot of running back problems, or at least have an attempted to make amends for that by picking up Reggie Bush. But the Lions are a team that are an interesting fantasy team, but outside of Calvin Johnson, probably don't have anyone that is going to be a superstar on the fantasy outlook. Looking at the quarterback position, you've got Matthew Stafford as your quarterback. Stafford, after a season in 2011 that saw him throw almost 40 touchdowns, much worse last year, and looked like he was really forcing things many times. Another thing you have to look out for, Stafford sometimes his form is just terrible as a quarterback. He certainly is worth a look as a quarterback. Should be someone that someone is going to take in round 7, 8, 9. He's just a quarterback that's going to throw a lot of passes. He's going to throw for a lot of yards. You have to expect that he's going to throw more touchdown passes this year than he did last year. And again, not in the same category as, say, Drew Brees, but certainly much better than the Jay Cutler, Phillip Rivers type quarterbacks. At running back, you've got Reggie Bush. He was their big pickup for the season. Got him away from the Miami Dolphins as a free agent. Bush should bring receptions out of the backfield and general rushing yards. I don't think he's going to be nearly as good for the Lions as a lot of people seem to think. I would try and shy away from him. Michael LaShore is going to take some of his carries away. Joique Bell is probably going to take some carries away on the goal line as well. The Lions are pretty well stocked at the running back position, but Bush does give you some advantage, especially in point per reception leagues, because he's going to catch a lot of passes out of the backfield as the Lions try and get him out in space. Calvin Johnson is the best receiver in the game, bar none. Not a question. That doesn't matter if it's fantasy or in just regular playing of the game. He is the #1 fantasy receiver by a mile. He is the only receiver that should go in the first round. And if it's amazing that he can last to pick, like, say, 12 or 13, then you simply have to take him if you can. But he's going to go in the first round. He is head and shoulders above everyone from a fantasy perspective. And given the fact that Stafford should throw more touchdown passes this year, Calvin Johnson bodes to be the prime beneficiary of that. Another guy they have is Ryan Broyles. A lot of people liking him. He had some great times once Titus Young was kind of banished at the end of last year. A lot of people expecting Ryan Broyles to make a significant move into being a much better receiver this year and catching a lot of passes. Someone to at least consider as a wide receiver 3 later in the draft, say rounds 12, 13, something like that. On the other side of those guys, you'll have Nate Burleson. Burleson is at best an average receiver. Nothing special there. Should he be drafted? Possibly. But again, he's a 10-plus draft position. Tight end is Brandon Pettigrew. Pettigrew is a great receiver when healthy, but he's hurt a lot. He's probably the only other guy, unless Broyles really picks it up, that is a difference maker in the receiving game like Calvin Johnson. That was something that hurt the Lions last year and hurt Matthew Stafford. If Johnson was not open or anything else, they just didn't have enough other playmakers in the passing game. Pettigrew, if he stays healthy, can be that. And again, someone that you take as a tight end, but where he would be at in the pecking order, there's a dime a dozen guys. It's always better to pick as best as you can at the tight end position, and then look during the season for specific matchups and specific tight ends to make a roster move at that point in time. Defense and kicker position, Defense is nothing special. I mean, they could be pretty solid, but they're not a great return team. They gave up a lot of stupid penalties last year and a lot of yards and a lot of points. Hard to say how it's going to be significantly better this year. And for their kicker spot, you just can't take their kicker because for the first time in it seems like 50 years, it's not Jason Hanson. Hanson finally retiring after a very, very long NFL career. And until a kicker comes in and proves themselves, there's just too many other kickers that you can take. So as a recap, when you look at the Lions, Stafford, someone that should definitely be drafted as a quarterback. He is definitely a quarterback one, but he's middle to bottom of that quarterback one pack. Reggie Bush at running back is someone to take in rounds 4 or 5, especially if you can get him, especially in point per reception leagues. If you're looking for a handcuff, look for Michael LaShore. Calvin Johnson's the only receiver that should be taken in round 1. Ryan Broyles on a flyer. If you like him, take him late. Round 12, 13 should be available. Nate Burleson, probably 10, 11, should be given some consideration as well. Brandon Pettigrew, you could do worse than draft him, but again, wait till late in the draft to take him. Otherwise, look for him during specific matches. And the defensive kickers aren't really worth looking at as far as the Lions go.